So as mentioned, today's Hey Teves. I'm not your rabbi. I'm not your mashpia. I don't know who you are really. I was invited to Fabreing for his Yom Haledes. That's what I was told. Now it's understood it's Hey Teves, but I'm not going to be talking much about Hey Teves. I'm going to be talking to Gabriel about Avodas Hashem, about serving God. My father was a student in the Lubavitch Yeshiva in Lud, and he learned 8 years, from 13 till 21, by the famous Chabad Mashpia Reb Shlomo Chaim Kesselman. Reb Shlomo Chaim Kesselman was a Yid. He actually was born in in Poland, but he learned in the Lubavitch Yeshiva in Teves in Lubavitch, and he became probably the greatest mashpia that Chabad Lubavitch has seen until today. And when I say the greatest mashpia, I mean an actually hashpah, an actually influence and impact on grooming students to become true Yidden, true Jews, and true Chassidim. It would be a full night of a Fabrengen to talk about this Jew and what the style that he used, the impact that he made on future generations, and many of which we see today. So, Gabriel, it was Gamliel or Gabriel?
Gamliel is same thing.
Gamliel. So it was a Fabrengen. My father must have been 17, 18. I don't remember what exact age. My father told me this. He had a Yom Haledes. My father had a birthday, like your birthday. And it was a Fabrengen, and the Mashpia is Fabrengen, and I don't know, maybe other reasons for the Fabrengen, but definitely it was a Fabrengen that was associated also with his Yom Haledes, his birthday. And this is what he said, and you'll please excuse the vernacular, and you're all adults, and those that are children, it'll be said in a way that it won't be too bad for their ears, because they need to know these things, and grow up if they want to be Chassidim, and I'm sure they do, so they can hear it as well. And this is what he told them. My father's name is Aaron, right? Reb Shlomo Chaim had a way of calling his Talmidim, many Talmidim, by kind of their nickname. You know what a nickname is?
Yeah, it's like a nickname.
Thank you. You're an American. I know. The Americans know. I was asking the people from Russia if they know what a nickname is. Okay?
Klitschka.
Okay, a klitschka. So, the it's not even a nickname. It's kind of a cutesy way, a nice, cute way. He would call him Arel. Okay? Aaron is the name, but he would call him Arel. And Reb Shlomo Chaim, his particular style was with a lot of love and ava. There were certain teachers of Chassidus and Mashpiyim, their style was more what we call yira, awe, fear, reverence. But his style was ava, with a lot of love. He smothered you with love. But it was a very intelligent love. It had a shape, it had a direction. He wasn't just, saying, oh, you're the best, and you're the best, and really you're not the best, and you need a lot of improvement. He was a very smart individual. You would call him an excellent psychologist, par excellence. So here it is, an 18-year-old young man who was in yeshiva, who's developing himself, refining himself to become a mensch, to become a chassid. And the Shlomo Chaim says to him, Adel, he says, what did you do this year? What did you accomplish since your last birthday? My father, it's what we call in English a rhetorical question. In other words, he's not asking, looking for an answer, he's asking to make a point, and he's going to himself give the answer. That's called a rhetorical question. So he says, You're here now at a Farbrengen, a year after your last Yom Haledes, your last birthday. What did you accomplish this year? Let's do a little cheshbon, a little account. Let's see what you did. And he said, if you cannot pinpoint what transpired in your life in an improved way from the year before to the year now, then you've wasted a year. You wasted a year. And if all you could tell me is, and this is the punchline, that your behind, your backside, okay, grew larger from eating more and sitting more, then you also wasted the year. And my father, this is 18 years, and he would tell me this as we grew up, and Shabbos, he would talk to us and share with us so many things that he heard from his mashpia. And this I remember from childhood when I was 8, 9, 10, 11. I remember things that he told, and this is one of the things I remember. Which, by the way, is also teaches us the importance of sharing things that you heard from your rabbis and your mashpiyim and your teachers with your children. And believe me, they might be playing, they might run in, they run out, which didn't happen with my father, because with a Jew from Romania, a European Jew, you didn't mess around. If he told you to sit at that table, you sat. Otherwise, your backside felt it. Okay? It doesn't mean he kept us there for 5 hours, but when he said over things from his teachers, and he sang Nigunim, we had to sit at the table, and we sat at the table. Therefore, we remembered things. Okay? Anyway. So, Leo, it's your Yom Haledes. You're not 18, you're 45, I think. You're Baruch Hashem, you're a grown adult, you know. But the cheshbon is the same. The cheshbon, the thought that Rav Shlomo Chaim shared with my father in yeshiva when he was 18 applies to everyone at their birthday. In this case, Gamliel, and it's not to make you uncomfortable or to put you on the spot, which that would be good as well. It doesn't make. That's what a Farbrengen is about. Farbrengen is not a time when we eat sushi and drink wine and it's a nice party. Okay, that's a side benefit that you get at Farbrengen. Farbrengen is a time of some serious reflection. Doesn't mean you have to be morbid and sad and melancholy. No. But you have to ask yourself, what's going on in my life? You know? Nachman Litzlan, we had this COVID, this terrible pandemic and everything else, and the whole world, for at least for a little while, became a little serious. Now we're back to the same old way of, everything else. Anyway, let's stay positive, not negative. So, our Farbrengen is a time where we make a cheshbon. So, Chaim, the aim should help that even though it's already past your Yom Haledes, you said Rosh Chodesh Teves, it's Hey Teves, and we're here Farbrengen in your house, which is a gewaltige Sache to have Chassidische Farbrengens in a house. Chassidim in Russia, Lubavitcher Chassidim, they Farbrengen a lot in the house. Now, of course, it was because the KGB and the communists, we understand. But nevertheless, there was something to the Farbrengen in the house. Farbrengen in the house brings in the Chassidische Warmkeit, the Chassidic warmth, the warmth of neshama, of soul, the warmth of togetherness, the warmth of Ahavas Yisrael into the house. And then the house is permeated with this Warmkeit. And as the year goes on, it comes out in this corner and in that corner and in this book and in this picture. And you understand? So the house becomes a Chassidish house. I heard actually, there was a shliach in France. He's read in Elam Emes, and his wife's in Elam Emes. His name was Reb Shmuel, Mule Azimov, they called him. Very Chassidish. And he was married to Rabbi Shem Tov's, the family Shem Tov's sister. Her name was Basya Azimov, Basya Shem Tov, a cousin of my wife's, and so we were in Paris for one night. It was actually when Gimel Tammuz, that same time, And we were there because my brother-in-law got married in Paris, in Frankreich, in France. So, you know, I was told it was a very, very trying time in Chabad, and difficult issues with the Rebbe's health and everything else. Gimel Tammuz, it was a very trying time. So I mentioned it to Mrs. Azimov. We're talking like cousin to cousin, face to face, between ourselves. There's no mics, and I kind of expressed my feelings, which were, you call sad. It was difficult. And she said to me the following line. I will never forget it. She said, it didn't come from her. And you can see that she was a real Shem Tov, a real. She says, my tata hat uns eis gelehrt. My father, the Ben Zion Shem Tov, his name was Ben Shem Tov, Ben Zion. He taught us Yiddish eis gelernt. As the Rebbe is nicht in Holz mit brick. The Rebbe isn't in wood and stones. And she was saying that the fact that the Rebbe lived for 40, 50 years in 770, or 770 in Crown Heights, that was that time. Then he moved himself over to the oil, and that's where he is now. But the way she said it was so, first of all, clever. Whether you agree or disagree, but it was a very clever statement and a very poignant nekuda. And it's a nekuda that is connected to the Yom Haledes, to everyone in your Yom Haledes. If we look at life and Jewish life as associated only with the Geshem, with the Gashmias, with the physical, then you can become very sad, because we all, after 120 and 180, we return to Hashem. And there's illness, and there's this, and there's that, and there's many reasons why we can get very depressed, very upset, very morbid. But if you understand that this is only a temporary, this classical Yiddishkeit, this is not Chassidus, this is Judaism 101, Torah 101. If you understand that this is only a temporary place, and that the ikir here is the ruchnius, to make the gashmius ruchnius. So yes, we have sushi on the table, but we make a bracha on the sushi, and we try to think about what it means, and we eat it with l'shem shemayim, and everything else. We eat it for the sake of Hashem, and we eat like a mensch, not like a glutton. Then the physical becomes truly a vehicle for the spiritual. And when you make the physical into the spiritual, you should be a very happy person. Why? Because the Rebbe writes this in the Likutei Sichos, and it's brought in the Chassidus of the Rebbe Rashab. You've created a chidush, a novelty. When you take material, gashmias, and you transform gashmias into ruchnias, you are what we call, the Gemara says, a partner with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when you're a partner with God, you're godly. That's the meaning of a godly soul, a nefesh elikis. Another mashpia of mine, Rabbi Avraham Ayard, explained this at length when he would fabring and talk sometimes, that what a godly soul means, a nefesh elikis, a godly soul means is that you have within yourself a part of God, an aspect of God, and God is not limited to the geshem, to the physical and material. And if you become that, then you're God. But of course, you're not God. You're a creation of God. But you have godliness in you, and that's the greatest thing. So that's what your Yom Haledes is about. Your Yom Haledes, and a year's Yom Haledes, his birthday, is about finding in their life, finding in their community, finding in their work, finding in their experience God, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. L'chaim, they should help that we should find Hashem in our lives, be open to change, never say we know we know we're already grown. And if you have that attitude, you won't have just another year of having a bigger backside, but your year will be a year that will be permeated with kedusha, tara, and growth in Avodas Hashem. L'chaim. We'll sing a niggin